Minutes. I don't know how am I. It's every day is mind blown.
And we're at the full moon in a couple of hours.
That's right. What time is it at? Do you know?
Here it's 12:36.
Okay, so that's going to be in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'll be nice and dark here, and the moon will just be coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, what's been going on in the most lit family in the world?
Oh my God, they all went bonkers before I got on.
It's
obviously, early in the morning, and I was going to go up to the studio and take this with you, and then Ben was like, he didn't think the reception would work properly, so they've had to leave the house, and it went all a bit crazy. So yeah, we're good. We're really good. Yeah. It's been interesting times.
Yeah.
We're homeschooling the kids at the moment because of our lockdown. So it's they're a bit over it.
Are they really?
Yeah. The first couple of days it's hard to adjust, and then because they've just come off school holidays and then they've had to go back in. And
so last year everyone had to be homeschooled, right? When it first, okay, because you're in Victoria. So that I saw a comment on the show that we did with Monique and Morgan and Yvonnya, where we talked about that a little bit. And somebody put that it had been 9 months y'all were under. So the kids were in homeschooling, and then they went back in before the break or just after the break?
So we just had last week, or actually it was the week before that. So they would have been at school for 2 weeks, and we had 2 weeks school holiday statewide, and then they've just gone back in. But this is the third lockdown this year.
This year?
In Victoria, yeah. So we've had a 5-day one, then a longer one, and then, so this is the third one. But we took a week off last week and we went to the beach just for an extra week. So that was amazing to get right down. I don't know if you've ever heard of Great Ocean Road.
No.
It's like where the 12 Apostles are, and it's really beautiful on the coast. And we went to Lawn for the week, and it was like we were taken out and then put there, and it was like, oh my gosh. And it really so I've been in Victoria for 18 years, and in June that was my 18-year anniversary. And because I'm from Queensland, from Brisbane, and being like in that warmer weather, even though we're constantly under a cloud here for 7-8 months, it feels like, because we're under the mountain and we're under a great dividing range. So we're like always 4 degrees colder than the city, and it's beautiful. But we've just come to that realization that it's, I don't know, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like you always want to run, but then we love it here, but then I don't know, like Queensland was calling us, the beach was calling me, the ocean. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So I didn't know if my 18 years were up here and it was time to go back to my family and my home. So it's been really, really interesting, because as you know, this property is so beautiful. We've lit it up. It's beautiful, and it really is our oasis. But there's something calling, something stirring within. Yeah. So And we've been looking at Tassie too. So.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I've never thought about this before. And this year's really shaken things up.
To say the least.
To say the least, yeah.
So do you think that it's just your kids and a few kids like yours, or do you sense that the kids in general are over it?
I think the kids in general are over it. Yeah.
Because that's an energy that would show itself, I would think. In this energetic climate, I would think that that's an energy that, I mean, I don't know how it would play out, but if you could imagine, if that's the case, which I think it is too, it would make sense. But if you could imagine, say it plays out like the kids just become unmanageable across Victoria, you know, I'm like, that pressure, it's gonna, however it looks, I think it would have to be felt.
Because when your child has those reactions and they're just like, no, not doing it anymore, it creates this trigger within you.
Yeah.
And the family dynamic, and it's just, you know, you just burst out and that's it. So
it's kind of like we're at positions on this mountain and these big boulders have been thrown down. And when the kids go, no, I'm done, then that puts it on local in the family.
Yeah.
And then at some point you would think that the parents would align with it. It's like, well, why are you rolling these boulders on us? Let's roll them back up here. You know?
Yeah.
Like push that shit back up.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah.
Every hour shakes things out. Capital OURINOUT. Hour in out. Huh. One of my friends cried when she had to tell her children about the extension of the 5th lockdown. Something's brewing in Australia. I can feel it. Like the womb is churning.
Yep. Yes. Deep breaths.
And if you think about, yeah, no kidding with that. And they're coming more frequently. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yep.
But if you think about it, the way everything's replicated in the Flower of Life, even with the transformational energy that's been here and is expanding, that Mother Earth herself would be basically built the same way we are. And I don't know, there's something about the feminine, the womb, the stirring that you referred to. That's what it feels like to me, a stirring, right? In Australia. And other parts of the world maybe represent, and this is just my take on it, other parts of the body. I don't know, but I can feel it.
Yeah, I think that's why sacred movement is really important within the body as well. Like, you know, that shaking and rumbling that you can do. You just have that outburst of wanting to dance, wanting to move in the most incredible and unusual way for the body, because you're actually feeling the body of what's under your feet, you know, and what's above you. And it's just, it all comes through you like a violent shaking earthquake. And so I think we definitely have that mirror. And I've always sort of taken that earth, fire, water within, you know, and then the standing like the tree, and then the moving and the swaying and just being, you know, the rocking and all that as one, to really feel what's going on.
Yeah. That's what I get from the trees when I sit with them more than anything is the movement.
Yeah. Did you hear about that big storm we had?
Where?
Yeah.
In Victoria?
In Victoria, we had a massive storm. was about a month ago now, and the winds and the rain it was huge, and they had like this satellite view of it over Victoria, and it ripped through and tore up all the trees, and it was massive. Our property wasn't damaged. We had like twigs and stuff, but it felt like a freight train came through all night long. And then the devastation of when you woke up in the morning to see everything had toppled, and people were devastated. And I was like, no, this is actually a really good thing. We have so much density under this earth of Victoria right now, and it's been holding so much. And I view it as when trees topple down, they're actually releasing all that density and that energy that they were holding. So yeah, we had many trees. Yeah,
that's trippy. That happened here in May. Like where I live to my friend's house about a half mile away. It actually happened all over the metropolitan area. But in this small town, like I went to the dentist and I went to her house, there must have been 200 trees. And I'm talking I could, you know, I'm 6'2". I could, some of those trees would take 3 of me.
Yeah.
And it looked like somebody just pulled them out of the ground like broccoli.
Yeah.
Like the holes were just enormous. But yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. It's like a big cleansing, because I see trees as like acupuncture points, and it's like, you know, releasing the energy. Because it all just made sense. It was so scary to be in that storm, but knowing there was absolutely a high purpose, and that's exactly what Victoria needed. It was,
It makes you wonder about how it's going to present itself on the earth, because I've always had this thing. I'm not sure if it was there before, but I know when I met Morgan, I was like, I know Australia, I know I'm going there next. I know I'm going to something about Antarctica. And I wonder sometimes if there's going to be, you know, instead of Yellowstone Park or some other place, or, you know, around the world, earthquake, whatever, that something happens in Antarctica. And now that you're talking about the trees, imagine a bunch of trees sprouting up in Antarctica. Like if there was, you know what I mean? Like if there was some kind of whatever, and the climate change, I don't know. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I can see where there is a correlation with Mother Earth, and we might want to pay attention.
Yeah.
So you're, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I thought I read something about someone in the past, or had a vision from their a past reincarnation that was like a tropical oasis.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's some schools of thought that it still is. You know, if not above ground, underground. I was going to ask you about your kids. Now, your kids are what, like 8, 10, and 12, or 10, 12?
Yeah, they're all turned a year older. So William's in a couple of weeks. He's 11. Ethan's 13, and Serafina will be 10.
What a name, Serafina. What a beautiful name. What does that mean? Like fairy, Serafina?
Fiery angel.
Fiery angel?
Of the seraphim.
Or did you not cast something there? So how do they, I mean, in terms of the energy of it all, do they all react the same? Like even to the school thing? Or, I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, is it uniform, or are they all different?
Yeah, they very visual learners. So to get on a computer and have everything sort of laid out and typed up and sent away, they kind of struggle to not have that interaction, if that makes sense. Like so they're two of them are mostly visuals, and then Ethan, my oldest, he's in now high school, so he goes to an independent school, and they're amazing. So he has a lot of interaction over, like, his lessons are all video calls.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. Whereas Serafina and William are learning through sheets. activities and stuff. So
yeah,
but their schools kind of are okay. You know, they're very focused now on the well-being of the children and whatever they can do, because they go to a very small school, like it's 120 kids there. And literally, if you can't get all through your work, or you know, you're not up to, because it's kind of like overwhelming, they're just like, well-being, sit back, take it easy, do what you can, and then that's it.
yeah. Cool.
But we've got like 5 acres, so they know the drill. Like, it's just do what you can, then go play.
That's cool. Their own little Narnia. Their own little Narnia, right?
Yep.
Yep. Has the boy that the son that made that symbol, the one that I made too, that was such
Ethan?
an artistic.
Yeah.
Did you see my my?
I would have done that. Would have been me. Like, I would have done the same. So you know.
It was 2-dimensional. I totally get it. But did he get anything else from that symbol? I mean, anything else happen?
Well, when we all sat down, so if I can explain to everybody, so when Morgan sat out how she performed that octahedron, and then she sent the recording, I sat down and did it by myself. And as soon as I came out, I'm like, oh, no, we've got to do this as a family. Mm-hmm. So when everybody came in, like they'd been all outside and everything, I'm like, all right, guys, I've got something we can do together. And
is this have you ever done anything similar to this? Ask him to do anything like this?
Not like, kind of separate. Ben would do stuff separately with me. But we haven't, like, because we've also got a stone circle, which is from our Pentagon veggie patch right down the back. And Ben, like, mathematically put this veggie patch in a pentagram and then put all of our veggies, and they thrive for years. Anyway, I think I told you, like, it literally got trampled upon eventually by kangaroos that just, you know, went. So we bought it all up and we put it at the back of the house. But the actual symbol is embedded into the lawn. And 2 years ago, we got some stones from a quarry and placed them into where the tips of the triangle were, and we all were like, yeah, that's yours, and when they all went in, we put the most beautiful young oak tree in, which is thriving down there now.
Wow. Right
in the middle. And we stood there when they all went in, and we kind of just all connected. So it always felt like we were this star family. We always felt like we were part of a star family. Anyway, so when Ben came in after he was doing work outside, and I'm like, yeah, we should do this. And I'm like, it's only like 9 minutes long. Because he's like, what have you got me into now?
Who was that, Ben? Or
that was Ben, yeah. That was Ben. And they're like, like, what are we doing now? I'm like, let's just be open. And oh my God, they just dropped in. They just dropped into it. Because I did it before that. I kind of opened my eyes while I was following their meditation again, and they were I could tell they were so deep. And Ethan was just upright, and he had his, like, the mudras, you know, into the heart, and he was gone. It was amazing. So like this, everyone had different experiences, which was beautiful. That's
amazing. Do you realize how amazing that is? I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but she's talking about an octahedron, a massive, I would say, octahedron activation that Morgan got. I went through it with her. She went through it, then we went through it together. It was amazing. So your whole family did it. And
I was instructed that we all do it together.
So was there anything happen afterwards, the days after? I mean, do you notice anything?
There's stuff always happening here.
Yeah, well, I would think so when you've got 5 aligned souls over there.
actually interesting. So randomly, the next day we got a cat. Like, that was weird. Like, that's just so unusual for us just to, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, but it was like, I got on the computer, I saw her, we went there, we got it. We picked her up from the adoption agency, and yeah, and it's almost like she's a kitten. She's really unusual. She's like, I don't know, and I was told to name her Lyra, and she has anchored in something in the house and the land. It's really interesting.
Mm.
So that was, yeah, that was pretty amazing. And then, I don't know, we've all just felt like this. Again, it just, I'll do it. It feels like this. There's this stirring of energy, of movement in the house, in the land. Yeah. Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
It feels, yeah. That's what it feels like to me. Stirring. A little bit faster, a little bit faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing, though. I can't imagine. Of course, they probably don't tell their friends, but, you know, hey, you know what me and my mom did? You know?
Yeah.
I put the Mudra on my heart, and God, that's amazing. So what are you seeing out there from your perspective, you know, as an observer? Like, what are you feeling? Just the stirring, I know, but I mean, is there anything coming in? Anything else?
I feel like there's okay, so I'll go back to that meditation, Octahedron meditation. When I went out to Victoria, I was told to expand across Australia, and the octahedrons all kind of like, and they were golden and they touched like that. And it was like I was feeling the connection to our brothers and sisters. Like, it was just like that ripple effect, and that we're all coming together in this divine orchestration of what's happening. And the conversations that for example, I went to the supermarket a couple of days ago and had a conversation with a woman that from school that I never thought I would have, about general world expanded events, and it blew my mind. I left and I was blown away by the speed of which people are actually waking up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, you know, if you're able to just listen to people, they have so much more to say, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, they have so much more to say the more comfortable they are to say it. We all create that field of acceptance, or yeah. And that's why I was asking about the kids, because it certainly feels like people are waking up faster. You know, somebody said more people woke up in 2020 than in the previous 10 years. I believe that. And this year, especially as this new wave of the bullshit's coming, people are just going, hey, no, I don't think so. I saw Gigi Young. She reminds me of y'all's energy. Gigi Young, she's on YouTube. Quietly created her own channel years ago and pulls in the same type of stuff y'all do. And I saw her do one in the last few days, and she said, you know, she really has a good handle on like what we talk about in this community, you know, flowing and all, taking in all the different things into account. And she said, as far, because people had asked her this question, will you answer this question? What do we do about COVID? What do we do about, you know, all these restrictions? And she said, well, all I can tell you is what I can do for myself. That's it. She said, I am not going to take a vaccine. If you do, that's your business. I'm not going to do it. And I'm willing to physically reincarnate if I have to, or whatever's next, because I'm not doing it from an energetic standpoint. So if for someone that visible to come out and say it, and then to hear like from the old friend level, like you're talking about, that's a pretty big expanse. I think there's a lot of people getting to that point, even if they're not conscious of it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the good pressure of these kids in Victoria, what they put into, you know, what that effect is, you know, in the realm.
It's got to start from here, doesn't it? Like, it all started in Victoria, and it just like, so we've had the most density, and it's like, it only makes sense that we need to break out first and just, you know, like, just, okay, this is enough. This is enough. And yeah, so for me, it feels like I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, I really, because from the beginning of the year, you know, from when I smashed my knee and have had this huge body experience, it's very much felt like I have been very quietly embodying my whole essence in, and I no longer want to hold back on myself anymore. I don't want to put anything, you know, cover my voice or be untrue to me when I go out into the world. I want to be able to be who I am. So, and honoring that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I was going to say that's feels, yeah. I'm stepping more into myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I follow what everybody else is doing, that doesn't feel right for me.
No. And I think there is a feminine, obviously, I mean, you can even just look at the way the groups, these communities were built and the percentages of representation, but there's definitely a feminine force in that energy that's kind of leading the way. That's when you say what the kids said to me, that felt that way too. Like, I've had enough. I've had enough, you know, and I think we're seeing that play out. I don't think it's happening in a way that you can read about in the paper, but it's definitely happening. That whole octahedron thing over that period of about 10 days, that was amazing. That was just amazing. And then to see the repercussions, or the other people that talked about doing it, like yourself. Hell, even the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I felt the energy come in. So you know how we all go through those waves of up and down. So I'd been feeling pretty good for the last couple of weeks, and then it really came in yesterday afternoon. I even sent Cleo a message and said, whoa, did the energies turn up a notch? Because you feel that it's like, whew. Yeah, so I've kind of felt that since yesterday afternoon. I'm like, oh, I must be in that. Not down the spine.
I don't know what it looks like anymore. I mean, I have no idea. It's just like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we came out of that. I think it was pretty collective, or within 3 or 4 days or whatever. But like, something definitely hit the 7th. That was amazing. Ours started with, I just was here and I was like, she's totally disengaged. And it all came in like that. It's like, oh, I'm disengaging. We're disengaging. Open to anything and everything. But, and so that's how it started. And it all came full circle, which I think ended about a week later. And a lot of people talked about what was happening during that time. There was a lot of letting go, a lot of reformation. And then a few days go by. And I don't know, I think she mentioned something about the full moon. I thought, oh, here we go again. And I feel like I didn't know what to do, but I knew one thing was to stay, by whatever means necessary, stay in this, whatever this is, this time, I can't think, the time, don't worry about sleep, no judgment. Just try to, see what's happening, hear what's happening, align with it, what is true. It's just, I don't know. It's almost like a new, refined method of living every single day. Like whatever you were able to do yesterday, there's another path today, and it's even better. It's kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that reminds me, was it the 2 episodes ago of Franco's? He talked about creating your own reality.
Yeah.
And I was really focused in on, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 months, is waking up every day and imagining that I've stepped onto a new earth, like a new planet, and how that feels when I wake up, how the sun's different, what would I go and explore in the world if it was brand new? How would I create in that world? So it's just a completely different mindset of 1 step, 2 steps. So every day is kind of like a new exploration.
Yeah.
So that felt really right for me. And
that's good. That's good advice. I mean, that's good. That's a good way to approach it, because I keep Monique on that show that we did the other night. Or no, it was that was the activation, wasn't it? We broadcast that. Anyway, it was a session. I think we did the activation. Yes, we did, for Robert Hill. But Monique was saying, she was talking about polarities, and because she was the proxy, and she was seeing in the field like a zippering, like not so much a stitching, but a zippering up of these polarities. And that's what I pictured when you were talking about that. Like you're stitching the grid through your, full embodiment.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I've noticed in the last week, when I go outside, I'm feeling like really not dizzy, but it's like a wobble. Yeah, and it's like, am I passing through realms here, or like, it's really interesting. Like the grasses and the trees are like, it's like this. So, yeah, it's like a wave, and it kind of stirs. Yeah, that word stirs. Like it's different out. Like it's different in nature now. It's really different.
Yeah, you would know, and you're right. I mean, for me, I can sense it. I mean, I've been kind of cooped up for a few weeks doing it, and actually staying up all night and sleeping partially a little bit at a time during the day and doing shows. But I caught the force back here a couple of nights ago, and I was like, I looked at it, and they were like, hey. I was like, oh, you know what? I totally I totally haven't been present with you. And then this whole exchange started, which, for somebody who does better with probably trees than anything, really. I mean, it was a totally different experience. And I remember too, there was a show a few days ago and I think it was our friend from Norway, Kristen, but they were talking about, I think like in terms of like a visual, like planes, like I don't know if you would call it consciousness, but let's just say consciousness, or a field of consciousness. One is like the earth. One was like I don't know if she was saying the higher self or galactic or something like that, but that there was one in between. And that one in between, that kind of resonated with me, because I thought, well, you know, it's not really one or the other. It's really not. Like, it's both. And that's kind of where we're at. So as a result of that, there's like this, you know, this kind of absorb, you know, this energy coming in, let's say from elemental or the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom. It's like the thing with the cat, the kitty. That's not a coincidence. And it's like permeating into this field that's not in one place or the other. It's in both.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
God, I was thinking something else. Yeah, because like, for instance, with the cat, the kitty, because I never really paid attention to cats until like 2016 when I left Houston and actually came here. And the sister I was staying with had like 4 indoor cats. One was named Lyra, by the way, which is so. And then she had like 8 outdoor cats. They all had names. And Lyra she ran all of them. She ran the whole show. She was the smallest one. She was the weirdest looking cat I've ever seen. Beautiful. And she would sleep with me. She was like, we had this connection. But like Franco says, his intel is that each classification, I guess, or species of what we call animals, they don't have separate souls. They have one collective soul. And their collective soul has an agreement with our experience. And that is, they represent certain things and do certain things. And I think that the cats are definitely, you know, like some type of almost like a power, like a power source, or
yeah.
So like after what y'all just did as a family, which how many families have done something like that in this world? Probably more than we think, but you know what I mean? But yeah, and then the cat comes in and anchors it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it'll be interesting to see. She's in the bathroom at the moment because, you know, being a new environment, she can't come out into the house. She gets too overwhelmed. So we're going to keep her in there for a week. She's popped out. Ben never really wanted a cat, and he's a dog person. But when she came home, when we brought her home, she went straight up to Ben and cuddled into his arms. So that was really cute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everything speaks.
Everything. Yeah. It's beautiful. So we're meant to be going to Tassie in September. That's why we've held off getting any sort of pets. But we don't know what's going on with travel. And what's going to happen. So who knows?
I don't know. I had the thought today, because you have to respect everything that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I guess the stream had to do with whatever distortion and shadow in the collective field, in the literal experience. And I thought, this is bullshit. I'm just going to see what it takes to denounce my U.S. citizenship. Now, this is just my own stuff going on, whatever. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, what if energetically everybody did something like that? I'm not saying to go do it. I'm just saying, think about the energetic force, just like children going, I've had enough of this. I'm done with the quarantine thing, that people would be like, I'm denouncing that limitation, that level of limitation. Because if you think about country, and there's 200 and whatever it is, 56 or whatever, but the power of that, like something like that's going to happen. And it might happen in the womb down there in Victoria and then spread to Queensland and to the other New South Wales and so on. But it's going to happen.
Yeah. Could that be those energetic votes that Jason was talking about too? Those ones that we're having every 3 hours now as well.
Yeah. 5 a day, 8 a day. I mean, that's a lot. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. So putting that in the field.
Yeah. Have you had any Merlin experiences lately?
Melon, he didn't leave me, but he said his goodbyes to me last year and said, it's time. Oh. It's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you at home.
Pull my eyes out.
Come see me on holidays. Come see me and your mom.
Yeah. But he does show up in sessions sometimes with a good friend that I speak to over in the US, Denise Marie Campbell. He shows up with when we're speaking, when we're doing some energy work, and he'll show up, and so that's been pretty amazing. But generally he's not by my side anymore. It kind of feels like that's the go with, everything right now. It's like I'm walking this path as Melina, embodying myself without any guides, people around me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm the most powerful version of myself.
Yep.
That's what it feels like. And that's why I've been quiet and really gone inwards. I'm like, because I went through this for the last couple of months of where is everybody? And it was the more you embody, the more you're going to come into your own power, yourself, and who you're truly meant to be. And you'll no longer need that validation because you'll have it all within you.
Yeah, that feels right. We've been talking about that. We had an open platform 10 days ago, and our friend Anne, can't remember the rest of her name, from Denmark. She's been on 2 or 3 of those over the years. Very reserved, soft voice. Just one of those that are coming out more and more every day. Just been doing it for years. And she came on because we were all talking about what's going on with you. Like what's happening right now, like we're doing right now. And she said, Todd, all my life, they've always been there. Like all my guides, the angels. And she said in the last few weeks, it's just me. And she was getting at that, and this was a few weeks ago, because you know how much everything changes. It's probably at the point where you're at now. She was saying, I'm just more human, more human, more human, more human. Yeah. Like you don't have a choice. Kind of
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I get it. Makes you feel teary.
That happens a few times a day to me, doesn't it? You these last few weeks?
Yep. It's like you've got this, Melina. You've got this.
Yeah. See, I'm having these conversations with whatever you want to call it. I still don't know what to call it. Is it my higher self? Is it me talking to me? I've been calling it a council because I'm consciously inviting parts of myself. Morgan took me through a badass session last night, which was all of the 9 bodies of the human, from the light body down to the physical body, and then, you know, parts of your younger selves and so on. But I've been having this conversation with the whole thing, right? Like the galactic angelic, everything I know, everything I don't know, whatever. And it's been like, okay, I think I actually got this. Like, I am a soul in this body. Everything's become more and more accessible and will continue to. I will expand in this physical in ways that were not once non-physical. And I guess it was kind of a question or a surrender or something. And I said, like, tell me what I need to know, right? Like, I'm here. I'm in. I'm not going to die. I'm good. I'm past enough fear, whatever, right? And that was probably a few hours before we had this session, which we really hadn't done one this long in a long time. And I realized afterwards, like after the aftermath, that this is how it came through, as opposed to the old way when Merlin would pop in or a dragon, that it actually came through with the physical aspect of myself, right? So that's going to be interesting to see how these things that we've done in dimension and in the etheric field, we initiate in the physical with full conscious intent. Kind of like the Soulogy Fest gathering, or even the silent unification. That conscious intention is everything. So a family of 5 doing the Octahedron Activation in Victoria is a lot bigger than it sounds.
Yeah. So we're just kind of open to, if we're meant to be here, there's no like push or pull or anything like that, or force, but just, you know, like it's that waking up, going in the morning, and visualizing that the opening, the expansion, and the creation of our world that we wish to create. And if we're meant to be here and really truly anchor in those energies of who we are, then that's beautiful, and we'll hold hands with our community and our state. And but then if we need to be taken out somewhere, then we'll go from there too.
So you mean like the kids? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't say anything.
It was just a delay. So the kids, I mean, because most kids, the last thing they want to do is move, right? And so are they open?
Yes, but Ethan's got an amazing school. That he goes to. But they're being so young, they're open.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm just looking at like from an energetic template being formed. Like if I think about that, like if I look at your family, what I know of it, you know, the energy I've been exposed to, which certainly is in everything, and look at what's happening, I would bet you just like that whole experience with you pulling them all together and doing the octahedron activation, like, how do you say this without sounding like, I would think you probably, because you pull in the intel and kind of see things and as a result of that, lead things. Does that make sense? Does that?
Yes, so I do pull in the intel with my visions, and then I express them to Ben, and then he goes out and takes action with everything that I say.
Give an example.
So if I said to him, I don't know if this is like, I'm feeling this energy towards completion here, and I feel like maybe we're meant to go back to Queensland. Like I just have this energetic. And then within like a couple of hours, he had found places that replicated almost what we had created here up there already, and had found a school very similar to where Ethan, the educational system to where up in Queensland. And it was like, it's like he knew that, how do I explain it? He knew exactly what I was feeling and wanting, but in a different environment to keep us all in that energetic field.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Kind of like you take your sphere of experience, which is like, say, composed of this grid, like a bubble, right? Like a globe. And this is where you, and picking that up and taking it with you.
Yeah.
Maintaining the integrity of what you have and having that or something better as a result.
Yeah. And that's why I really need to be very mindful of what I get and sitting with it before I express it, because he's in action straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
polarities,
you know, I could.
Polarities.
Sorry.
I just said the polarities, they're funny though, but as much as they exist, they're all coming to center. Right. I mean, it's weird. Like that's how I, have been. I've changed, but like that masculine, go do it. But there is a go do it part of it. Like you said, you basically dream it, and then the masculine energy creates it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he doesn't always, there's not always occasions where I will say something. He'll be like, no, that doesn't feel right. So.
That's cool.
Yeah. Because cool. I obviously need grounding in that moment because I've got way excited. So I've learned to really go, actually, that's something that I need to share.
Yeah.
And then that action's taken.
Yeah. It's almost like you said a minute ago, because the feminine and the masculine are definitely constructed differently. The thought processes after, you know what I mean? But it's like you were saying, and of course they have the strengths, and that's what we're doing. So you said something about, I think about what I'm going to say before I say it, because the tendency will be charge the hill, right? And it's like part of, I think, something that's happening for us too. I can speak for myself certainly, and I would think it's collective. Is waiting before you act. You know what I mean? Like little things, like a lot of times things will come in and you want to go do something. And for me, the masculine wants to go do something, go build it now, go build. And you realize maybe you're feeling the alignment and just chill out because it's coming organically. That to me, the feminine sense.
Yeah. So that's when I know that my heart's leading the way. Yeah.
I wonder how, seriously, as much as everything's changed, everything, like say since 2012, but if you look at 2020 and then you look at 2021, I can't even guess what 6 months from now would look like. I do feel that stirring you're talking about, and I do feel like there's going to be, and I don't want to put it out there, but like, I think you kind of talked about it a minute ago, like the shoe drop moment, like nobody can argue it kind of moment, or does it just continue to happen as it's happening, be refined with more ease and grace? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. All I know is that I need to fully be in my body and present.
Yeah.
And be very focused on my energy, and also the children's well-being and energy as well, and making sure that because it's freezing here at the moment. but making sure that we're out on the land and we're speaking with the grid and connecting into the labyrinth in our stone circle, and going into the studio and creating through art. So we can, so we can just continue to expand on what we want in this world.
Wow, that's powerful. Talk about a template. I mean, if you just expanded that whole template into a wider community, I mean, that's really what people that are pursuing that's really, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. I remember when we were in Glastonbury
No, go ahead.
2019, and I was instructed to, it was on our family holiday, and every place that we went, so Scotland, Wales, England, Glastonbury, I was to pick up dirt and then collect it. And then we went to Spain, and I did the same thing, from like just where I was called. Mostly it was just under really beautiful trees. And then when I came back, the message was to create 3 essences, but really these essences are literally what we're experiencing now. And they were like, open the heart, expand it, and create from there. And yeah, it's just like, that was back in like 2019. It was just like, this is, this is how everything is going to unfold.
That's a good description. That's a good description. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, and then when I released all my essences into the labyrinth through a ceremony, it went back into the grid. So it's all available.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. Like we want to go out and share, but even when we pull stuff in, and like what you're talking about, it affects everybody. It's available, as you said, to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so it went into the body as an essence, and then it went back into the earth as the essence. So it's like, if you even just check in with yourself, open, expand, create, and hold that energy of the essence, she will give it back to you.
Yeah. Cup runneth over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, I like what you said, because when you say you received open the heart, I might even add break open the heart, but there's something about that, what you said, that really resonates with me in terms of what's actually happening. So if you think about it, the heart's broken again, broken open again, not broken. And that brings in this whole bunch of energy that's totally freaking us out. Like I'm talking about, like on a self-conscious level, like the levels of thinking and all the stuff that comes in. But at the same time, creating from that space, right? So it's almost like telling me, whatever circumstances you're in, be aware of like how much your heart's broken, like she's talking about. Like that's, recognize that, see that for what it is, but also create. Like I always have those words in my head, at times. I had them a couple of days talking to Morgan. I didn't even say anything about it, but it kept going in my head as we were kind of just having a talk about things that were going on in our life and whatever. And I kept thinking or hearing, create your way out, create your way out, create your way out.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, absolutely. And, and if you see something, that's not my reality.
Yeah.
When I was out in the labyrinth, I got this, because I often like just tone and sing, just like, because I walk it and just words will come or something, and I'll just say them out loud, and I can hear the rustling you know, in everything, like the trees. It's like it's like you're having this conversation, like, oh, she's here, she's out.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, so and when I got into the center and I kind of sit down, and it was like this reverberation coming up from the earth. And can I just share it for a second?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and it was and everybody can do this out in nature. It's so beautiful. And it was like and like it was like this tone, so it would start from the bass and it would go and then all the trees would just like start swaying, and it was this it felt like you were in this beautiful symphony of exchange of energy. And I just kept rising, saying the same toning, like until you got to the crown, and it would just create like this ripple effect through nature. And it was like this beautiful exchange of energy. So if anyone's out there and you want to just be and have a beautiful experience, then yeah.
You're saying that while I'm sitting here looking out the window at the mother tree. Yeah, that was cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, because it just lifts up all the debris as well in your body. Mm-hmm. And you just feel totally like this acupuncture point in the earth, and you continue to bring up the tone of, and it starts vibrating through your body.
Well, at the Soulogy Fest, Eric Rankin, he brought a presentation on what he's downloaded called Sonic Geometry. Mm-hmm. And in that presentation, he talks about tones and, of course, geometry, and I think maybe colors. But J.J. Hurtak and Desiree Hurtak were there, the guy that wrote the Keys of Ina. And their presentation, which is like, they're both PhDs. I mean, like 50 years of, study around the world, pyramids, all that. They talk a lot about and present a lot in regard to tones, the relationship. Now I mix Eric and their work together, like the relationship between tones, particularly those tones that you were toning, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That the way they're all connected. Like, so you walking out there in the labyrinth or whatever you call it, I can't pronounce it. Doing that, really, that's what's happening. You're actually projecting universal toning, which is geometry, which is light, color, sound, and all the things that are in our field that we don't, the five senses do pick it up a little bit, but you know what I mean? So that's and one of the things I picked up from the Hurtaks and even Eric's stuff, and even like Robert Sepper's stuff, is that the stuff that seems to be more applicable every day is the very simple things like this.
Yep.
Which is weird because we've always got to be making something and building something and on the conveyor belt, of the corporate ladder, being a mom, or, all these things that we thought we had to do. We don't have to do it anymore.
You just have to listen.
Yeah. Do you think we're getting help? Do you think the energy is helping us be present regardless of ourselves? I mean, do you think there's something bigger than us that's happening anyway? So grow up kind of thing.
grow up. Yeah. I think I absolutely do. And I think everything that is happening brings you closer to living in the absolute moment and not taking life for granted. And what was it, that video that you sent the other day, the Australian guy, and it was for 4 minutes, and he talked about death.
Oh, that dude, I'd like to get him on. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he was amazing. And that's been my journey pretty much this year. I've constantly had a few rounds of death.
Yeah. A few? You mean just a few? Yeah.
Death and dying. And it's funny because
Max Egan, I think is his name.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Does anybody know Max Egan? Please, let's get him on SouLSpeaks 5 minutes.
Yeah. That was amazing because I really felt that energy and the fear of death. And someone did my gene keys, the Richard Rudd gene keys, and the first one that comes up is the 42nd, which is my overall gene key, and it's to do with death. So that's my cycle apparently in my year. So I really have to embrace the celebration of life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that and maybe the Great Divide's always been there. It's heaven or hell, whatever we choose. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I have just incredible appreciation and gratitude more every day. When you look at the complexity of it all, like I was shown last night, and I was just talking about, I'm not going to go into it, but I was being shown what Morgan and I had done. Just those two examples out of billions, right? And I'm going, whoa, all of that, and whether it's in the physical, romantic or not, the message was love rules.
Yep.
These two people always come back to within themselves, with each other, and I really feel like that what's happening for us all is this physicalization of that. Which, like, if I look at you and Marie Batchelor, Alicia Brochet, Morgan, I know there's a bunch of, and they're all kind of over there, and it's like talking to the same person, right? And there's like this connection, and you can see it. And I know somehow or not other I'm connected, but I don't feel like I'm from that lineage. Like these things are coming to us all. They're as real as we make them, and that's the thread I'm following.
Yeah, I've had dreams about all those women and connected with them, and the things that have come through, unbelievable. And then the energy work that I've done in and on Australia has been incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's all connected to these women.
I agree.
And to you, Todd.
I don't know. I'm like a string that goes in there, but I don't know. But I do see it, and I respect it in myself, what I'm seeing. I saw it on that activation. I saw her pyramid. I saw 3 on each one, 3 in the ocean, 3 on land. And I know who they were. And I saw their pyramids. And I saw Pleiades. And I'm like, there's a major shift going down.
Yep.
And yeah. I can see and of course I talked to Morgan about it. I don't really talk about it. I talk about it. I talked about it at Soulogy Fest, because there was that whole presence was there, like 40 or 50 of them. Same soul, same everything, same look on their face, same illumination. It was incredible. but I have, I guess, in my one of my purposes is to obviously to broadcast this frequency, and slowly it's been coming slowly, and I've seen it now. Morgan did a post the other day about, and she captured it perfectly, about her coming out, the frequency of her, we call the goddess energy or divine feminine. And I was looking at the shares. It was like 120 something shares, and I wanted to see what and they were like, they were sharing it, and they were like, hear her roar, but it wasn't like the old feminist. It was, you could feel it. And I told her, I said, there's your list of people to get on right there. It's pretty cool to see it kind of happening. It's pretty cool. Thank God it's not the same old shit. I think it to some degree we must have said enough's enough. Because if you even think about the people in these communities, how many of us have gone, you know what? All right, let's get it done. That's what it feels like. Get it done. That's what I'm talking about. There's something about, like more of the connectivity is coming through, even though I can't explain it. Like it's always been there. Like the first time I met you as an example, or Marie, I'm telling Morgan, I feel like I'm talking to you, right? Like it's crazy. And then it gets louder and louder and louder. And this is happening with all these strands connected to us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the beach sounds good. I'm all for that. Well,
it looks beautiful where Morgan is.
Yeah, doesn't it?
I remember going there as a kid, but I can't really remember it. That whole coastline's beautiful, though.
That whole country is. Actually, the whole world is.
The whole world.
You can find. Hell, I got heaven back here, and I'm kicking myself because for 2 months I haven't even walked out there, and that's not like me.
Yeah.
But there's been big work being done.
It sure is.
And everybody's. I can't wait till the after party. I hope we make it by happy hour. That's all I can say.
Happy hour, yeah.
Anything?
I'll see you on the other side.
This side, the other side, or both? That's what I used to say in the early Soulogy days. I used to say that. I used to sign off on my rants. I'll see you on this side, the other side, or both. Peace, power, protection, big ass love. where we were and where we've come to. That's amazing. That's one of the great things about this show. Yeah. Well, I love you. Thank you. And thank you for all the things that you give me, because Morgan will tell you. I use them. You take care. Best to you and your family.
Thank you. Lots of love.
You take care. Probably be back on in an hour or 2 hours and play a bunch of videos. Yeah.